Welcome, friends, to the Someone Gets Me podcast. I am your host, Dianne Allen, and I am so delighted that you're here. This podcast was created because I believe there is a visionary leader inside each one of us who is waiting to be seen. In each episode of Someone Gets Me, you will hear useful tips from successful visionaries who will share their stories about how being seen has allowed them to take their vision out into the world with action. The Unassuming Superpower. Don't judge a book by its cover. Hi, friends. Today's episode of Someone Gets Me is a little bit different than some of my other episodes where I'm going to speak about an unassuming superpower. Now, I'm going to unpack this idea of an unassuming superpower, and at the end of the show is when I will tell you what that unassuming superpower is. Because we live in an extroverted world where there's shiny objects here and there and the effects on the cameras and all the social media. We are so hooked as a society and probably as a world on destination addiction. That's where am I going and what am I doing and let me get there already. Releasing any kind of idea to enjoy the ride, right? Or enjoy the path we're walking. And so what I notice is that the flashy, shiny, crazy, out there stuff gets way more attention than the people who are grounded and centered and authentic and real. Now, I'm not implying that the people who are out there and crazy and extroverted are not authentic. I'm not implying that at all. What I'm saying is a lot of people who are introverted and deeply connected often get overlooked as, oh, they're too spiritual, or maybe there's nothing in there. They're being judged by their cover. The perceived stillness on the outside often gets judged as there's nothing on the inside. And we've all heard the phrase, still waters run deep. So often people who have been deeply in their inner world and growth and transformation don't have to be showy and tell you how much money they make and how much money they can make you and do all these crazy things, because there's an inner knowingness that far transcends that external, flashy, shiny object syndrome kind of behavior. And we as a society often are addicted to that external way of looking at things rather than going within and being connected and connecting with other people. It's increasing over time. It's increasing that people are more and more connected to this, addicted to whatever the next thing is, like very short attention spans. So I believe that the unassuming kind of introvert, maybe empathic person is really an advantage because that's where the difference is. You know, it used to be that you had to get all wild and crazy to get attention. Well, now there's so many people being wild and crazy. What if we looked to the people who were calm and centered and they were the eye of the storm? They're the calm within the storm versus the people causing the storm. So I believe that sometimes, it's so much more fun to be a little quiet. So it seems like a conversation when you're working with me, just a plain old conversation, it seems like that. However, what 90% of the people I work with say, it takes a minute to percolate. And then the ahas start up. And that is because I am skilled at asking really great questions. And they're questions that aren't yes/no questions. They're questions that take pondering and deep work and understanding. And so often those don't get answered right away. They don't get answered like that. It's more of an awakening and emerging from within. Also, I believe that people who are quiet and aligned inside also have a lot of shared ideals of compassion and kindness and gratitude and honor and respect for the person they're working with. I find it to be totally one of the most honorable things that could happen if somebody says, I want to work with you, Dianne, because they're choosing to share their life with me. And there is no greater honor for me in the world. Do I have to jump up and down and get all crazy about that? No, because it's a humbling, deep, rich experience. And when I can connect with somebody on that deeper level, on that soul level, that far transcends all the flashy, crazy stuff out there, at least in my world. I also see that all the shiny object syndromes out here create a lot of dissonance for people where they're distracted from who they really are. I always tell my people, make your face look how your insides feel. So if you're smiling and skipping around, but inside maybe you feel existential angst, or maybe you're gifted and you feel a little lonely, like nobody really understands you. Or maybe you're sad about something, but you have to put a smile on your face and you create that incongruence to please whoever, please work, please family, please the society, please what social media wants you to do. Well, that also fosters dysregulation, where we're not in harmony. That has long-term negative consequences to your being, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. So what are you going to do? Are you going to allow yourself to be dissonant, where your face does not look like how your insides feel? Or are you going to really focus on being congruent and regulated? And regulated does not mean flat. It means that when I'm happy, I'm happy. When I'm sad, I'm sad. And I can be in the flow of life. Because life is kind of like on a sine wave. There's always flow. There's always movement. Much like the surf when you go to the beach. There's that beauty. There's that elegant simplicity, that rhythm of things. And that rhythm emerges from the inside. It is distracted when you're focused outside. And so the addiction part of some of the technology and social media and things like that is to keep you so focused outside of you that you don't really know what's going on in you. And until you know what's going on within you, there's always going to be dissonance. It's never going to line up. So sometimes the introverted, empathic, deep thinking people don't look like all flashy. Sometimes we are attentive to what you're saying and what you're not saying. Sometimes we are totally there and present, and we hear you with our heart, with our soul, and our ears. That's much more powerful than the external thing. So the unassuming superpower shows up in humble, gracious, compassionate ways. Yeah, it does. Now, people who have this unassuming superpower also are very good at yes and. There's not a whole lot of right fighting and having to be right all the time and good, bad, right, wrong. That's not the reality. Unassuming superpower people also have great candor, an integrity, a truth, an alignment with their motives, a clarity about who they are and what their motive in life is. That is deeply needed in this world, right? Where we're so connected to who we are and where we're going and what we're doing that we can't be taken off that spot. Now, that's not all about, all the arguments and all the things I see where the people are being so polar. Well, it's all right or all left or all, I don't believe in any of it or whatever it all is. All of it is a sign of dysregulation. It's a sign of being externally focused, and it's a sign of a lack of mental health. That person may not be diagnosed as mentally ill, but when we go out to a far faction somewhere and we hang out there, then there is a problem with our connection, with our heart, our soul, and our mind. Now, a lot of research shows that when somebody is living in a state of fear for a long period of time, or that state of danger, that their ability to discern what's real and true becomes impaired over time. Well, we live in a society that's impaired over time unless somebody's doing their deep work. So all the people who are focused out there all over the place, maybe, just maybe, it would be good to check on one's judgment and fear level, because sometimes, in fact, most of the time, it kind of messes up their judgment. So I prefer the unassuming internal way of living, where it's authentic and kind and generous. Because I know in my soul how deep the honor is and the respect is when I'm working with anyone or a group, because they chose me. Think about it. When you choose somebody to tell something to that's really dear to your heart, maybe you're really sad or upset or something, or maybe it's something really amazing and you have to trust a person with the information, you think carefully about who you're going to speak it to. That's an honor. So if the listener doesn't respect and honor and take within them that precious sharing and intermingling of your connection, then they just did you a disservice. So I like to see the unassuming superpower people as people who listen with their heart and soul, right? Who are not just with their ears, that they hear what's being said and what's not being said. Because often it's in our eye contact, or it's in our smile, it's in our affect, or it's in our body language, what's really happening. And it's easy for people who have developed their inner world to connect on those deeper levels. Now, being intuitive and deeply connected requires an inner calm and an inner integrity. It requires that the person's mind is calm, that their heart is calm, that their soul is grounded. So it may appear unassuming. It may not even appear very powerful. It may appear kind of meek or overly humble or those kinds of things. But the truth is there's a lot of power in it. The truth is that when somebody is in that aligned inner state, that they're more powerful than the people who are so distracted out there that they cannot see what's going on. So judging the book by its cover works against you. Some of the most profound things I have heard in my life that have changed me forever for the better did not come from what it seemed like it was going to come from. Think about a lot of the masters who teach us great things. There is a sense of humility as in being of the earth. Humility means to be of the earth. It doesn't mean to be walked on or weak. It means I'm of the earth, right? And so a lot of unassuming people are grounded in that way. Their mind is calm. Now, I'm gifted and I'm twice exceptional. I have about 4 to 5, sometimes 6 trains of thought happening all the time in my mind. So the work that it takes to have everybody inside aligned and calm and attentive when I'm working with somebody or just going about my day takes a lot of focus. It's worth it though, because there's such power in it. There's such grace in it. There's a great feeling of emerging energy and goodness, like flowers blooming, right? Or like a lighthouse. It's so important to realize that the deep thinker people have those still waters running very deep. And to judge it as not flashy or somehow not good enough could be a mistake you're making. So pay attention. Now, there's a simple, elegant focus that comes with this unassuming superpower that I believe to be beautiful. It's like when I go outside at night and I watch the stars change over time, or I watch the moon rise and go up into the sky and then or watching it set, or the sun rise or the sunset, and that elegant simplicity of nature. Now, there's an elegance within each one of us if we'll allow ourselves to feel it. And that elegance and that simplicity brings about power in an authentic spiritual way. I'm not talking about ego power and anger and frustration and rah, rah, rah. I'm talking about an authentic presence, an elegance of the way the person walks through the world. Now, you can think back in history on people who had elegance, but yet were very powerful. Princess Diana might be one of those people, right? And there's all of the people in our history, we've seen them. The Queen Elizabeth is also one of those. There's all kinds of people who are elegant and have a lot of power in the world. And there's a simplicity and a power and a grace and a beauty to it. So this unassuming superpower that I'm talking about has those qualities. It's not flashy in an external sense, but yet that person's light is very bright. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have nice things, or they don't do beautiful things and all of that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about using the flashiness as a distraction from inner alignment and inner connection. And here's what I know. I know that authentic change, authentic transformation, if you will, comes from within us. It emerges from deep within our soul. So a lot of the people I work with, and myself, I've felt this too, where I could feel it coming. I could feel the mission. I could feel this amazing energy happening, but yet it would stop, maybe at my throat because I didn't know how to speak it, or maybe my brain couldn't understand, so it felt like it was caught in that steel trap. But still, our authentic transformation and change comes from within. Now, it could be incited by inspiration, right? Where we hear something or we're around somebody and we're inspired and it wakes it up. Well, if we don't keep nurturing it, it's going to go back to sleep. Yeah. And so sometimes that inner part of us starts waking up when we're feeling desperate. You know, I always say people change by inspiration or desperation. And I like to prefer that even if somebody's feeling a little desperate or a little bit fearful, we can take this deep, unassuming superpower and help awaken that inner urge, that inner calling, that inner energy that's trying to come forth that may be frustrating somebody. So flashy doesn't necessarily invite authenticity and real transformation, though being gregarious, maybe an extroverted, could be part of it. We often in this world are addicted to the adrenaline of good and greed and fear and fame and all the adrenaline that goes with it, like, you know, the adrenaline rush and let's go do things that get it all going, right? We can become addicted to that, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's good or bad, which is why I don't use those words. Its question is it serving you? It's not right or wrong or good or bad. The bigger question is what you're doing serving you, really? Now, I've engaged with a lot of people who are the flashy, extroverted types of people, and I've been disappointed. I've engaged with quieter people, and I've been disappointed. I've engaged with some of the flashy people and been really excited and inspired, and they've had it happen the other way too. So I'm not talking about judging everybody all the time. What I'm talking about is awareness and discernment here. When we have an internal locus of control, meaning we're making our decisions from within our heart, in our soul, in our mind, like what from within us. Internal locus of control means I am acting upon the world from the inside out. Then we will know how the person lands on us or the situation lands on us, and we'll be able to determine what's best for us. An external locus of control turns over all your power. So now you're reacting to the outside world all the time. And that can lead you astray because the outside world doesn't always give you great information. So an internal locus of control, I have found, works way better. So think about this. When your inner soul, like the real authentic you, is guiding the ship, is kind of like the compass, then you will see that a lot of the flashy, crazy stuff out there is unnecessary because that inner compass, that unassuming part of you, that part of us that connects on that deeper level is much more powerful than people realize. And it's got a power that's lasting. It's not like a flash in the pan, right? It's amazing, I think. So what I say sometimes when I'm out sailing and other times, pay attention, heads up. Those kinds of things matter. Pay attention. Is what I'm hearing landing on me in a loving, nurturing, kind way, or is it inciting fear and upset? So the unassuming superpower, you ask, like, what is it, right? For me, the unassuming superpower is the skill of deep listening. Deep listening beyond ears, deep listening beyond the surface. It's a deep listening from a place of humility with a peaceful mind and a peaceful heart, where the listener is open, receptive, and responsive to the experience. So when I work with people and I dial in on those deeper levels, It is an unassuming superpower. That's how come all the people who work with me go, wow, what you said really works, or wow, I didn't realize that conversation was so powerful. Because it's totally possible to be conversational and friendly and on point and transformative without having it all to be all flashy, or without having it to be moving so fast. Because integration matters. The depth matters if you really want to transform and grow. Now, some people just want a certain goal, like a certain amount of money or a certain number of clients, or their business to go a certain way, or their health to be a certain way. They only want like a certain goal. That's where you hire a coach, right? Because they help you get to the goal. But somebody like me, who is a mentor, that means I have the skill, experience, and expertise to not just help you get a goal, but to help you live the life you ultimately desire, so that your mind, your body, your heart, your soul, your environment all come together in perfect alignment for the greater good for you and everyone around you. That's a whole different conversation than I just want to get my thesis done, or I want to get my business to X number of dollars. It's very different. So the unassuming superpower is the ability to access skills, knowledge, education, intuition, deep, and connect on a deep level with the other person, so that in that quiet, calm place of beauty and grace, transformation can emerge. So don't let the shiny objects, the big overwhelming personalities, and even the big hair that we see direct your decisions. They're best made from deep within you. So look within you for what's trying to emerge. Connect with people who support things from the inside out. And remember that not everyone is going to be that outward extroverted person, which our society overrates. There's a lot of power in the quiet introvert empath. There's a lot of quiet in the person who is aligned, and even if they're extroverted, right? There's power in that. So don't judge a book by its cover, because when you do that, you lose. Now remember, until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, I wish all of you well, and I'm really, really grateful that you're part of my community and part of this family, and that you're on earth with me sharing this great road. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. I will be happy to answer them, because I love comments and hearing them. If you've loved this episode, share it with somebody who might be able to understand it and help inspire them too. Until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, be well. Thank you for listening. I trust you gained some valuable inspiration and information. Please join me and other visionaries in the Someone Gets Me Facebook group. Or for more information on my services and additional episodes, visit someonegetsme.com. Again, thanks for listening.